Ha-cha! Hello friends, my name is John and welcome to another 7-minute sermon in our series, Fruit of the Spirit, where we are dissecting the 10 virtues of Christian character. Today, we arrive at faithfulness. Faithful you are. Now, of course, as with all of these virtues, it is important to remember that only God alone is truly faithful. Scripture repeats time and time again declarations of the unending faithfulness of God. So any faithfulness that we try to exhibit by our own power, whether that be in earthly relationships or in our spiritual walk, that type of self-made faithfulness will always fall far short of God's standard. However, the beauty and power of our God is that His same faithfulness can be imputed into us by the power of His Spirit. And this then changes the way that we act and move and speak in the world to be more like Him. It is not our faithfulness, but it is a fruit of God's Spirit taking root and growing within us. You dig? And by the way, this is true for all of the fruits that we have studied or will study in this series. But faithfulness is an especially misunderstood fruit. It's like a tomato. What exactly is it? Usually, when Christians define faithfulness, we just talk about being obedient to God, doing what He says, following His commands. And this, of course, is true. Being loyal to God's commands is one of the ways that we show and develop greater faithfulness in our own lives. But if we turn to Hebrews chapter 11, we begin to see just how dynamic faithfulness is. Just like a tomato. You can make sauce, salsa, bruschetta, so many uses. In Hebrews 11, the writer gives us a definition of faith, or faithfulness. It says, "Now faith is the assurance of things hoped for, the conviction of things not seen." So we see that faithfulness doesn't just mean being faithful, but it also means being full of faith. Duh. Faithfulness is not just obeying because God said so, but it is obeying with the hope and the belief that not only is what God said best, but that it will actually come to pass as well. God's desire for all of humanity is not for us to simply obey Him begrudgingly, but His desire is for our faithfulness to Him to pour from a heart full of belief and love. Don't do it just because I told you to. Do it because you love me. The chapter then goes on to describe numerous biblical examples of faithfulness. And again, we see that these examples are far more diverse than simply men and women who just did what God said. We of course see that faithfulness can be expressed by holding fast to the commands of God, especially in the face of adversity, like Daniel did in Babylon. But we also see that faithfulness can mean following what God tells us to do, like Noah building an ark, or Moses leading his people into freedom. Faithfulness can mean going where God has called you to go. Abraham left his home as an old man and relocated his family to an entirely new country. Or faithfulness can mean loving who God calls us to love. This is what Ruth did as she stuck by her mother-in-law Naomi in her time of need. Faithfulness means being trustworthy with what God has given you. We see this in Abel presenting an acceptable offering to the Lord. Throughout all of these examples, it becomes clear that faithfulness can be expressed in a diverse number of ways. And it isn't passive either. Faithfulness is active. And we see this expressed throughout the entire New Testament. In 2 Corinthians, Paul encourages us to walk by faith, not by sight. James chapter 2 tells us that faith without works is dead. Faithfulness is listening to what God said and then acting on what we've heard. And so as you go today, my prayer for you is that you would express your faithfulness in a diverse number of ways, and that each and every one of those expressions would be done in active, hopeful obedience to God. See you later, tomatoes. Hey friends, thank you so much for watching this 7-minute sermon. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it encouraged you to move forward in your faithfulness. Before I go, I just wanted to ask if you all wouldn't mind, please, if you haven't yet, subscribe to the channel. And if you're not following me on Instagram, please go follow me at Jon Jorgenson right now. I'm putting out a lot of really good stuff there. It's just another way that hopefully I can encourage you as you go throughout your day. That is all I have. I love you all. I'll see you next week. Keep being awesome.